All right. Well, hello everyone. Welcome to the first episode of Back on Track. I myself am Hamish Tate. Alongside me,
I'm Jamie
Cavill. We've spoken. So we've spoken for a number of years about starting a podcast, and we're really unsure when to do it. And then we just sort of thought,
why not now?
Yeah, why not now? So the world needs more podcasts clearly, and we've made sure to jump on that bandwagon. Let's kick it off. So, I mean, the main thing about this podcast is, I myself am a musician. You are also a musician.
I am a musician of some degree.
Yeah, but you're also a train conductor.
Train conductor, railway extraordinaire.
Yeah.
And that's about me. Yeah.
The main things we're going to be looking at is music and trains, which
is a match made in heaven, if you ask me.
That's, you
couldn't have two things more perfectly.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you've got the music staves and the railways that sort of like each other.
Exactly.
So I think that's
exactly. When you do the horn on a train, that's a note.
Do you know what note the Northern Rail trains are?
I know it's tuned to a major third.
Is it?
It's actually interesting. This is a bit of a side topic, but
go on, yeah.
In the cab of one of our trains, we've got the button. It's a small lever to do the horn, and you've got two tones, and the actual symbol in the cab is a treble clef and a bass clef.
Is it really?
Inside the cab of the train, so you know which is the high tone and the low tone.
So there you go. See, it really is the stars are aligning for this podcast, I think.
And everybody needs, I think, trains and music.
I think the world hasn't got enough of two straight guys talking about stuff in the world. So, yeah, I mean, kicking it off, a little segment we wanted to include every week is alternative genre of the week.
Musical genre, by the way, just to make sure that's not changed.
We'd have a little, just cut this bit because we're going to have I don't know if I mentioned this, we're going to have a
little jingle.
I think we do it in the jingle of like Harry Hill's TV burp. So, alternative genre of the week.
Should we have a go at doing it acoustically now?
Okay. All right. Yeah. Ready?
Alternative genre of the week. I think I messed up a bit, but that was pretty good.
That was right. Yeah, that was good.
I'm happy with that.
Yeah. So the alternative genre this week is Italio disco.
Italio disco.
Were you familiar with Italio disco beforehand?
I'm familiar with disco, and I'm familiar with Italians.
Yeah.
But I've never really sort of
combined the
two. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But it's an interesting combination because I do like Italian music.
Right.
Italian language is quite cool, so when you hear it in music, it's quite fun to listen to. And I have been listening to a few Italio disco. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, Italio disco. I mean, what I found though is a lot of it is actually sang in English for the market.
Yeah. By an Italian guy in an Italian accent.
Yeah.
In English.
Yeah. But I mean, that's a lot of European music does that.
Yeah.
If you find, but a little bit of context for the listeners out there about Italio disco. So it's a music genre which originated in Italy in the late 1970s and was mainly produced in the 1980s. Italio disco evolved from then current underground dance, pop and electronic music, both domestic and foreign, and developed into a diverse genre. The genre employs electronic drums, drum machines, synthesizers, and occasional vocoders.
What's it? Oh, right. I thought you said something else. Vocoder.
Vocoders.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, do you want to start off? How did you find? What did you find from listening to Italio disco?
It really, I love disco music in general, Italian, English, whatever.
Yeah.
I love disco music. And one of the things, actually, when you mentioned Italian disco, because I've been listening to this song for a long time without realizing that it was, it falls into that category.
Yeah.
And I love it. And you probably heard it. It's all over Instagram. And it's this old Italian comedian called Pippo Franco. You might have heard of him.
Oh, I haven't got that on my list. No.
No. It's a bit of a niche guy. Basically, he's an old Italian comedian, actor, sort of, television personality. And he did a song, and it's really quite catchy, but I'm quite ashamed because it is probably aimed at a younger demographic. When I say younger, maybe like sort of
children.
Right. Like age 10.
Yeah,
but it's really cool, and it's called Ki Ko Ko Ko. I'm not gonna sting the whole thing.
Is it Italian disco?
Yes, it is in a disco. It's got a disco beat, disco style. Even the music video is like, dancing on an old school disco floor, like a dance floor with the lights and everything. And he's just an old guy who's having he probably had a few lines of coke before he got on stage, but he absolutely is it's bloody fun to listen to. Yeah.
One thing I found about Italian disco is a lot of the drums are electronic, obviously coming into the 80s. They all started,
drum machines.
Yeah, experimenting with all the drum machines. Because like one of the big names of the genre, Pino D'Angio, which I might have said that wrong. He has the very famous song, Ma Quale Idea. I'm probably saying that wrong.
I was gonna say, do you wanna?
Yeah, it's still, I think it went viral on TikTok about a year ago. Sadly, he passed away last month, but
rest in peace.
Yeah, and it's the discoteca.
Discoteca. That means discotheque.
Discotheque,
in Italian. Yeah.
Mr. Worldwide.
Yeah, thank you. Yes.
Yeah. He's the big sort of face of it. But one thing I found interesting is he uses real drums. But a lot of like that famous song particularly is a sample from Sly and the Family Stone, if I remember. Yeah, but I really enjoyed his stuff. Another song that I found from him, Una notte da impaziar.
Do you want to have another crack at that?
Uma notte da impaziar.
A night of impatience. I don't know what that is. Any Italian viewers can
leave it down in the comments if you know that one.
Impaziar.
Susie Q as well was a good one that I really liked. Their song Tonight. And some of the newest stuff actually, song by Nuagina, Marietta, which I really enjoyed that one as well. I wouldn't, because there's this sort of really like stereotypical sound of Italian disco, which is all the electronic drums, sort of cheesy synths.
Yeah, cheesy synths is what I found.
Yeah,
a lot of
and
synths.
The one thing I found is like the octave bass is like the big thing that they always do, where it's like dun dun.
Yeah,
dun,
yeah,
dun.
yeah,
yeah.
Which I quite like that. It's it gets you want to.
Yeah, makes you want to dance. Makes you want to dance with an Aperol spritz in your hands.
Yeah.
No, but so I think I enjoyed it. It sort of took me a minute because unfortunately I hate a lot of 80s music.
How could you?
Yeah, well, I just find it a lot of it really cheesy because they all just started going, I don't need to hire string people, string players. I can just play it on my keyboard, and they all sounded awful.
Don't even need a keyboard, just a laptop, and you're good pretty much these days.
Well, but in the 80s.
In the 80s, yeah.
And just like so much of I don't blame disco music
for the downfall of
No, I love disco music. And to be honest, I think the right genre for using those sort of synths is disco, like Italian disco.
Disco Italia, yeah.
Because a lot of the pop, especially like British pop from the 80s, I just find it really annoying with those synths. But that's personal opinion, and if you hate it,
I don't. I quite like that style of music because disco music to me is like you've had a few, beers or Aperol spritzes.
If you're listening to Italian disco, yeah.
And you just, something disco-y comes on, and everybody knows how to dance to it. You could be a disco song you've never heard in your life, and everybody knows, for those watching on the...
you want to do, like
imagine
Saturday Night Fever.
Yeah, that sort of thing, yeah, or like the Bee Gees Staying Alive. Or that. And that's and everybody go, oh, disco. Everybody hears a disco beat and they think, oh, I know how to dance to this, and they start doing the anyway. And I love the disco.
You love people dancing.
Well, it's just it brings people together. It's a community.
You got a lot of the indie pop stuff. Like, we in 10 minutes in, I've already brought up Jungle. They're my favorite band. They do dancey stuff, but no. Overall, though, I did enjoy the genre. I think it.
Going forward, would you listen to that on your own accord? Just like
there were a couple songs I would. Yeah.
I definitely would.
I don't know if I'd be in the mood to listen to a whole playlist of it again.
I think a couple of them have to go onto my playlist. If I'm being honest, I've got a good playlist. My party playlist.
Any ones you can remember?
No. No, I can't remember the names because they're all in Italian.
Yeah. Guys, stay tuned for the end of the episode because I've actually written an Italiano disco tune.
And what's it called?
It's called Dobbiamo Ballare, which
Wow.
I'm sure my European girlfriend is now going, you're saying it wrong again.
Yeah.
She's actually featured on the song, singing it, pronouncing it correctly. But it translates to we need to dance. So stay tuned. I'm going to try and do this every week, whatever our genre is of the week. Have a little, go at writing a song.
Yeah.
And we'll try and keep this going. I mean, I'm enjoying it so far.
I think that's a good. I might give it a crack.
Yeah, give it a go. Yeah.
Give it a crack, yeah.
And now, great segue.
That's a segue.
It's a sort of strange segue. Talking about Europeans, talking about public transport in Europe. Jamie, why don't you tell us about the train facts of the week? We haven't got a name for this section yet. Jamie here is going to be telling us a little train fact. We were going to do train of the week, but you might run out of trains.
Yeah, it's not limited to trains. It could be any just random crap about trains.
So, Jamie, what have you got for us this week?
Very smooth transition, Hamish. A really good segue. Well, I've been on a lot of trains this week because I've been up and down. I live in Manchester and we're in London at the moment.
We are in London. We're in sunny Hounslow.
Sunny. It actually is really hot today. It is very sunny. It is,
yeah, and I'm sure the pollution's not helping. So it's,
right under the flight path. And speaking of transport, not planes though, I've been to a few stations this week which have actually really, taken my interest.
Okay.
But one of them was Surbiton Station. Which I like because of two reasons. And I was talking to our producer, who is eagerly watching us, about this particular station because it's beautiful. Have you ever seen Surbiton Station?
You've never seen Surbiton Station. Is there a fact in this?
Yes, there is a fact. But let me just give you some backstory. It is white. And when I got there a couple of days ago, because I was meeting a friend who lives around there, and to me, it was a hot day. And it's this big white building, perfectly white, and I felt like I was in a Greek island. Like the Mamma Mia film. It felt like that. And then I looked up and it was like, it's Surbiton Station. But it's like really beautiful. And anyway, the fact is that they actually filmed a little bit in Harry Potter.
Did they?
In Surbiton Station, yeah. I've only seen Harry Potter once. Have you seen it?
I have only ever seen it halfway through on ITV.
Yeah, so we're not...
That seems to happen any time I'm, watching TV and you go, Harry Potter's on. I guess I'll watch it.
I tried to find
I've never watched it like fully.
Oh, yeah. I did a little marathon of it because my friend forced me to watch. I actually enjoyed it. It's not that bad.
Yeah.
But there's a scene where Dumbledore and what's his Harry? Sorry, yeah,
Harry Potter,
the main guy, Harry
guy.
Potter.
Yeah.
And there's a scene where they're like in a train station, and it is Surbiton,
It's Surbiton
which is
Station.
cool because Surbiton is like close to like it's many a night have been spent at Surbiton Station trying to get home from various nights out in Surbiton.
Do you spend? Is Surbiton a place to go on a night out?
I wouldn't. There's not much. It depends what you want to do in Surbiton.
Is Surbiton? Where is Surbiton?
It's not far from Kingston, sort of south.
Oh.
Kingston, Tolworth, Norbiton.
Oh, so yeah, you went to a completely different. Well, you went to school there
In
so
Kingston,
yeah.
I did, yes.
Yeah,
And I know a lot of people from Surbiton, and I just think it's really cool. And actually, the same day, this is a bit of you're going to get 2 train facts for the price of one here now. I went from Surbiton Station to Portsmouth Harbour.
Oh god.
Train station, which is in Portsmouth, and it's beautiful. Not really a fact, but when you come out of the main entrance, there is not the main entrance, the side entrance. You go around, and you got the beautiful historic dockyards there. You've got HMS Warrior, and that is just so
you've got
cool.
the Navy boats.
You've got all the Navy boats.
I remember going to Portsmouth once because I was sailing. It was my first ever voyage.
You are a sailor.
I am
sailor,
a sailor. Is that the song?
I thought it was What Should We Do with a Drunken Sailor?
There is a
You're
song.
mostly drunk.
I think I'm getting them mixed up. But
Yeah.
anyways, we did a 5-day voyage, and my first time out sailing, and we're all, like 17, 18, and the captain went, "Do you all want to go to Portsmouth?" And we went, yeah, we'll go, yeah.
Portsmouth.
It took an extra 3 hours on to our voyage, right?
Where did you start?
I can't remember, but I mean, we always start from Southampton because that's where the dock is. But I think we were going around Cornwall. It's only 5 days, so I think we were by the Isle of Wight. But yeah, it added an extra 3 hours to our voyage, right? Thinking that we're gonna be docking in Portsmouth, gonna go explore. I mean, you know,
HMS Victory and all that, all the
yeah,
carriers.
and all we did was go through it.
You didn't even get to see any of the cool boats.
No, we did see the cool boats, but like we didn't get to go on land, and that was what. I mean, I guess it's probably for the best that we didn't have to.
There were
step
some
foot
really
in
cool boats there.
Yeah, you've got all the Navy ships.
Yeah, I saw one of the big aircraft carriers.
Yeah, that's all. I mean, they move
cool.
almost everything to Portsmouth. They moved all the music.
The Military School of Music, which used to be in our hometown of Whitton.
Yeah.
Which is now, Twickenham, which is now being moved to Portsmouth.
It's moved to Portsmouth, yeah.
So
and I said, when Putin decides he wants to invade us, Whitton is now ready for the taking.
Yeah, exactly.
We've got no
defence.
We've got no military defence.
Yeah.
It's all in Portsmouth.
Yeah, exactly. We need our troops to play their trombones to scare away.
God forbid he wants to take over Portsmouth. I don't.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right. What is there? Is there any? Do you know why Surbiton Station is painted white? Could we get a picture of Surbiton Station out here?
Let's get that up.
There.
Somewhere.
And we'll put it down here as well.
Yeah. It's you see what I mean about the Greek island, the Greek
I do now. Yeah.
And how it looks like something out of Mamma Mia or one of those sorts of things. Very picturesque, very beautiful. I don't know who designed it, but it was designed by some guy, and it was probably that guy who does a lot of train stations, but I can't remember what his name is. But
we'll have it up on
someone
here.
can find out.
We'll have that up for the visual. Listeners.
I know you're interested in architecture as well, so it's.
Oh yeah, my partner Sabrina studies architecture, so it's just a lot of.
She'll be able to tell me why it looks so beautiful and Greek.
Yeah. Well, maybe cool. We'll get her coming on the next episode.
Yeah.
And any time you mention architecture again, she can have a full explanation.
That would be amazing. I do like architecture, but I don't really know anything about it. I just like looking at cool buildings.
Yeah. I mean, it's. I have just slowly been learning more and more about architecture, obviously, because I'm exploring more and more buildings, but I wouldn't say I'm by any means an expert on the topic.
I don't get the difference between architecture and what's the other one, like structural engineering,
Civil
or something?
engineering.
Civil engineering. That's it. Yeah. Like, aren't they the same thing? What's the difference?
No.
You all have an explanation for
I
that.
do.
Yeah.
Well, the sort of like joke you ask civil engineers, you go, "What's civil engineering? Is that just engineering where they give you manners?"
Yeah. That's a good one. There you go.
Civil engineers. So architects are the artists who will sometimes make a really impractical building, and then the civil engineers are the ones who have to figure out how to build it.
Don't architects spend years studying at university?
They do. No, they don't. They don't make really.
What are they doing? Just
they
drawing
don't make
cool buildings.
But like people like Zaha Hadid, she used to make really impractical buildings where doors would lead to nowhere and like rooms wouldn't be usable because the outside looks nice and there's pictures look nice, but then as soon as they were given to the civil engineers, they're like, "What the hell do we do here?"
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
you know, yeah. Well, it's you know, it's a subject that I don't know enough about to fully talk about.
Well,
but
we'll have to bring in our guest.
We'll have to bring. We'll have a guest appearance of Sabrina, architect student. Give us their 2 words about whatever architecture we want to do. We might have an architecture train. We might have a section.
Oh yes. Oh, plenty of.
So that was train fact of the week.
Are we gonna have a jingle for that one too?
We should do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Something involving trains.
Yeah.
That's what I'd expect.
Good. Yeah.
And now I want us to another segue. It's really we need to really find a way to smoothen this out. But
what's the next? What are we going on to?
Next one is weird news.
Right. So let me have a crack at this. So
yeah.
So
do you have this information all just in your head right now? Or?
Yeah, I don't need notes, Hamish.
You're all right. Yeah,
I'm a podcast professional.
Uh-huh.
So speaking of trains, something interesting happened on a train recently, and it was actually in the news. But not just the regular news. The weird news.
The weird news.
Take it away.
You want me to go first?
No, yeah, go. I mean,
okay.
Yeah.
Well, I can go first. Weird news that happened. This was August 12th. A well-travelled tortoise. Sorry, I'm not speaking properly today. A well-travelled tortoise that escaped from Arizona ranch has been returned home after being found attempting to cross a busy interstate 3 miles from home. I actually did the maths there, and tortoises walk a speed of 0.2 to 0.5 kilometers per hour.
So how long would it have taken?
Would have taken 12 hours for them to walk 3 miles.
There's one dedicated tortoise.
Yeah. And also, I mean, that's just like as the crow flies. So, you know.
How long did it say? 3 miles? It took him 12 hours to do 3 miles. Is that it? 3 miles? Wow.
Well, that's the estimate, but it probably took longer. It probably would have been a couple of days.
Wow.
Because, like, they've got to go up and down and have breaks.
Yeah, of course.
Eat grass and...
Eat grass, yeah.
Yeah. Do they anything apart from leaves?
Tortoise. Maybe they eat tortellini. I don't know. I actually wanted to have a pet tortoise, but you've got to hibernate them and things like that. And
do you?
You know they then you know all that sort of stuff during winter and
yeah.
But they're quite cool. I think they're cute. Tortoises, they're very cute.
Yeah, I knew a girl who had to take a couple of days off school because her tortoise had died. And
don't they live
like
hundreds of years or something like that?
And I was there. I remember being like, "Well, a tortoise is like 200, like 100, over 100 years old."
What have you done to that poor tortoise?
Well, I don't know. Maybe she just got the short end of the straw. I guess.
Maybe it was like old when she got it.
I think it must have been because she was only like, well, at the time she was like 13. So yeah, she just got the short end of the stick. I'm afraid. You know.
2 days off she took.
I think it was. I remember her taking at least a day off. Like, and I was like, "Where is she?" Her tortoise died, and I was like, "Damn, Can they live forever?
Poor tortoise. Rest in peace, tortoise.
Rest in peace, tortoise.
But interesting you should talk about tortoises.
Well, can I finish my story?
Yes, go for it.
Yeah, that's really it. There was a storm and the tortoise's cage broke.
Did they ever manage to get the tortoise back to where it came from?
They did. That's what so it was found, I'll repeat it again. It was found trying to cross a busy interstate 3 miles from its house. So its cage had broken during a storm, and it clearly just knew that it was, as it says here, quote, Stitch, however, found one small hole, and he was only one small hole enough to fit it through. So, he took his chance and was probably trying to find some tortellini in the pasta.
Yeah, in the pasta shop.
I think it was a pasta Angelicus.
Well, pasta being an Italian thing, maybe he was going to get some pasta and listen to some Italian disco.
Yeah, Italiano. It was Italiano disco at the restaurant.
Tortoise, tortellini. Very good.
Yeah, so that's my weird news. Jamie, what can we hear from your side of the sofa?
Well, Hamish, you mentioned tortoises there and trains some time ago, and I actually came across an interesting story a couple of weeks ago where a tortoise... What is it with us and finding facts about tortoises? This wasn't planned.
This wasn't planned.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, another thing that wasn't planned, I was also wearing a white polo shirt, and Jamie's jacked my style now. He came to the house.
I forced you to change.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
So, we're really just clearly in sync today. Anyways, tell us about this tortoise that was found.
Well, it was found on the train tracks, and the driver of the train obviously came to a stop and was like to the signaller,
what the heck?
I know. I really wish I could, there was a recording of that I can hear how that conversation went down.
Where was it?
It was somewhere near in the southwest, maybe like Bagshot or something.
Was it
Berkshire,
Southwest Railway?
Yeah, it was Southwestern. Yeah.
Are you guys close? Could you maybe get the audio recording or?
All the conversations between signallers and drivers are recorded, so it will be somewhere.
It might circle around on train driving WhatsApp.
Well, there is actually a very famous recording. I say very famous within the train community, so it's probably not. But it's one that everybody knows if you're in the know, between a signaller and a driver, and I'll tell you what happened because it's quite funny. The driver was stopped at a signal by the signaller, and the signaller rang the driver to warn him that there was a man a few miles ahead on a bridge. And you assume that if somebody's standing on a bridge, it might be a bit of a sort of concern,
malicious,
but no.
Yeah. Well, not malicious, bad.
Yeah, but in this instance, the said person on the bridge had a little bit of an interesting situation going on. He was waiting for trains to go past underneath, and he was
going to shit on them.
No, he was cracking one off the wrist.
Oh my god!
And
what the hell?
And this was some years ago.
Is this something that was reported, or is this just like an inside?
No, it was reported, to the signaller, and then
was this on the news?
Oh, I don't think it was on the news. No,
inside scoop.
Inside scoop.
Few
there
years
you go.
Late, but we're there.
This is you're getting it right from the tortoise's mouth.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and so the famous thing is this signaller says, "Oh yeah, watch out for this man masturbating on a bridge onto trains," and the driver says, "Okay, I'll watch out for the tosser on the bridge." And it's just quite funny, and it's very strange and very weird, but that's quite funny.
That's crazy.
But there's your inside scoop.
I don't get what the appeal is to that.
I mean, I know there are people who are enthusiastic about trains, and there are plenty of people who stand out with their notepads writing down the numbers.
They're
and
not touching their willy doing it.
No, they're not. I mean, that is a step too far.
And we are back. We just had a little bit of a little break. Sorry. So tell me a little bit more about this tortoise. What's going on? It seems like tortoises are taking over.
Tortoises are taking over.
They're interrupting
yeah.
all forms of transportation.
I know, it's ridiculous. So it was a giant tortoise. I saw the pictures of it. It took 2 Network Rail engineers to pick up this. It was big. It was like one of those big ones. And yeah, it just like it halted all the trains in that area for the day, and it caused like hours worth of disruption because a tortoise somehow got onto the tracks. But I don't even get how it got on there, and nobody knows. It must have escaped from some sort of.
Yeah, but it had to have escaped and then gone through a gate.
It must have bought a ticket as well.
Yeah, found a hole in the gate, probably somebody's garden that was like next to the tracks.
They did manage to find it, and they returned it to a local vet. So it's good news for the tortoise.
Did they have an owner? Did they find the owner?
I think so. Yeah, I think it was somebody's pet or someone. You wouldn't have a pet giant tortoise. You'd have a pet normal tortoise.
I know people. There are definitely people who would.
With the massive tortoise, they're big.
Yeah,
tortoises.
if you've got a big enough garden,
fair enough.
And you don't want to have to I don't know, pet a cat or walk the dog. You're like, I'll get a massive tortoise for my massive garden.
Yeah, just a flex. I've got a massive garden and a massive tortoise to just go in it. Yeah. But that's the worst part is that's not the first time a tortoise has actually disrupted the UK's railway networks.
Really?
Yeah, a few weeks ago, a normal sized tortoise actually managed to find its way onto a train.
When was this? A few years ago.
No, this was recently.
So this has happened twice recently.
Yes. Yeah.
What the hell's going on?
It was a different tortoise because this one was a normal tortoise, as I would call it, a normal sized tortoise, and it was somebody's pet, and they managed to find out that it was somebody's pet who it belonged to, and they managed to return it to that person. But I know, can you believe it? Who would have thought these slow, tiny little things, or big things, could cause so much havoc?
Oh my God. I think, but the problem is though, because they're so slow, that's what's causing havoc.
Exactly.
Because to cross the tracks, that's going to take a few minutes. Whereas like a fox or a cat,
exactly.
It's
it's funny that you should mention animals on the railway, because the other day, actually, this is another little bonus fact they're getting, but I had a cat try to not just board the train, try and get in the cab of my train, where all the controls are.
Yeah.
And it was desperately trying to get in. And I felt really bad for it, so I was like and I'm not very good with animals. I was like trying to shoo it out of the way, and it really wanted to try and get in. Maybe
Did you not just pick it up and?
No, I don't really like picking up cats.
Right. What? Not even when you had a cat?
No, I never picked my cat up because she would always scratch me and bite me.
That's probably what's
I'm traumatized.
It stemmed from
Cats are vicious little creatures, but this was quite a nice. It was a cute little cat, but I was like really. I didn't want to delay the train. Yeah. But I didn't want the cat to get injured. And, the worst thing that could happen is it gets, Yeah. So I had to end up start sounding the horn to scare it away. And that did the job? It did do the job. And thankfully the cat is now safe. So, but it tried to get in the cab, which is, what do? Do you just... I know. Maybe it was wanting to be a train driver.
Maybe it's trying to hop on without paying its ticket.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Sounds like these... pets are honestly trying to find every way to disrupt.
Exactly.
I think there's a conspiracy in there.
Yeah, it's fare evasion, really.
Big tortoise.
Or what they would.
Big tortoise is trying to get rid of quick transportation.
Big tortoise.
Yeah. Guys, just take it slow, like us. All right. You don't need to be going on fast. HS2. We don't need any of that stuff.
Slow and steady wins the race.
Slow and steady wins the race, and that's why they're trying to stop the cars, stop the trains. They're like Just Stop Oil.
I was going to say, I think tortoises are the latest Just Stop Oil protesters.
That's who's doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
They keep putting the tortoises
out.
So it's like, all right, let's take a few minutes.
But trains don't use oil. They're electric. Well, most of them are electric.
Yeah, well.
That Southwestern one.
Yeah, I mean, how would they have known there was a tortoise on the tracks? Because I feel like by the time you see it, it's a bit late, isn't it?
Well, they don't move very quickly.
Yeah, exactly. But they're so small. Do you see that far?
Yeah, you can see. You can if you're good at your job, you can see everything. Even if you're going 125 miles per hour, you're there looking like that, left, right, scanning, seeing everything. You can see, an ant. Actually, here's an interesting. This is such.
It's going to turn out to be the longest section.
Sorry. You can cut this bit out.
No. Keep it. What is it?
On trains in parts of sort of Europe, sunny parts of Europe, the hot parts.
Yeah.
Trains that have to pick up tender, So they go through they have to go through at a maximum speed of 0.3 miles per hour, whilst they like fill up the hoppers on the back of the freight train with whatever is going inside.
Why don't they just stop the train? Are these guys having to like run along the train track?
Yeah, they have to. It's like an automatic machine process, so it drives along slowly whilst dropping things, and it does.
I'm just imagining like back in the day before they had the cranes. They're like, we need to figure out how to stop these trains.
But the interesting thing about these trains, they actually have in the cab a button called millipede blower, because when you're going at 0.3 miles per hour on a very very slow. On a very heavy freight train, there's lots of millipedes in that part of the world. Even a millipede on the track can cause the train to come to a complete stop, which could cause all of the aggregates in the hoppers to build up and spill everywhere. So they would have a little button in the cab that would blow millipedes off the track, which is crazy. Just quite cool. So yeah, so even a millipede can cause catastrophic disaster on the railways.
You hope the engineering was advanced by. Hold on, how could a millipede could do that? Like, apparently, foxes don't.
Yeah, exactly.
What's the announcement like? The automated announcement like for when a tortoise is on the tracks, because they're very blunt. I feel like they're more blunt with it nowadays, where they'll just be like, because somebody got hit by a train.
Oh yeah.
Because I feel like they used to cover that.
What you're supposed to say, what they teach us to say is that you're supposed to say due to the emergency services dealing with an incident.
Yeah, well, that's what it used to be, but now they're just like I think because King's Cross, because everyone's like, what's going on? Why is my train like? They're just like, somebody got hit.
And then everyone shuts up and they're like, fair enough.
So what do they say about, do they have one for the
probably
tortoise?
Due to trespassers on the line.
Yeah. Big tortoise.
Big tortoise, exactly, yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that. That was the news of the week, and also some more train facts.
Got a bonus. You got a couple of bonus facts.
We've got about 4 more bonus
go.
train facts of the week.
Plenty more to come, of course.
So yeah, big tortoise. Is it here to stop our public transportation, or just be a nuisance in the world? We'll find out.
Only time will tell.
Only time will tell. What's next? Well, we've only got a couple more sections to finish off the first episode today. First of all, Jamie, just I think we start off with this section and then we do what grinds our gears, because I think this is What have you got a dad joke for us? That's our main thing. Jamie's
got a dad
just
joke?
little context for you. Jamie's dad jokes are notorious because of the delivery.
They're terrible. Yeah.
Well, it's often jokes I've told you, and then you go, guys, listen to this, and then I'll go to the loo, and you're still telling it. Yeah. So, have you got a dad joke for us?
The way I see jokes, I like to make the worse they are, the better, because if they're so bad,
right,
that just makes me laugh. So here's a really bad one for you. Are you putting me on the spot here now? I need to think.
I thought you had one prepared.
I always have. I'm very well prepared. Remember, it's all up here.
Yeah, sorry, you do know.
Yeah. So actually, interesting. You were talking about sort of things. So the other day, I was actually judging a neck decorating competition.
Okay.
Neck decorating competition. Very interesting. Do you want to guess who won?
Who won?
It was a tie.
Oh, there we go.
There you go. You can have that one. That is
right. Final section. What's grinding your gears this week, Jamie?
Don't get me started on people who, and this doesn't happen in London. This is only elsewhere in the country. People who stand on the left-hand side of an escalator, or just generally take up the whole space.
This happens outside of London.
Every time I come to London, any escalator, no matter where it is in London, everybody's very well disciplined. You stand on the right and allow people to walk past on the left, which is how it should be. But as soon as you go anywhere outside, north of Watford Junction, which is what I would class as the north, anywhere north of Watford, it's just all hell breaks loose.
People standing we're doing, parallel.
Yeah, exactly. He's only got stuff. Some guy lying on the floor, suitcases all over the place, and it really annoys me. And I work in a busy train station, and all busy train stations all over the country, and there's always some stupid guy or person who is just has no
spread out
just
all over the escalator.
Exactly, yeah. No spatial awareness, no sort of social situational awareness.
Yeah.
And I'm just there thinking, like, fucking hell, time. I've got places to be.
Do you not just go? Excuse me.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
And I've gotten to the point where I've sort of started having a go at people. Not having a go at people, but like.
Yeah.
Just being it annoys me.
I've been doing that on the cycle lane recently.
The one thing that gets me in one of the train stations, there's a travelator, and it's a very long one, and it goes up, and it literally moves so slowly. Because travelators, don't they?
Yeah.
You're supposed to walk on a travelator, and there's people that just stand there, and they just
you
don't
get
move.
That at Heathrow as well.
On every side. Like, if you're gonna who just let people walk past, and it really annoys me. And people who are slow at walking and just getting in the way. We've got places to be, people to see, things to do. We can't be getting held up by tortoises and people standing in the wrong part of an escalator. That is what's grinding my gears. And anyway. So how do you feel about that, Hamish?
Good. Do you want to hear what grinds my
gears? I would love to. Yeah, I've vented now.
I mean, there's a lot of things that grind my gears, especially moving back into London. But the one thing that I was thinking about yesterday that was really grinding my gears is it happens particularly on the Piccadilly line from Heathrow. Is people with big suitcases deciding to sit down and take up the whole aisle with their massive suitcase that they insist on putting in front of them. It's really annoying.
And also, I get this all the time, and I don't understand. When people they've obviously come off a flight, and they've got their big, massive suitcases, and then for some reason they're wrapped in cling film. Have you seen that?
No, I get
What's that all about?
No, well, that's
I
think because if they've packed their suitcase quite big, if it opens, that's why they do it.
They're not just going to put it in the fridge and save it for later. That's not why it's in cling film.
Yeah. Well, anyways, let me finish my point.
Okay, go on.
Yeah. So, but it happens particularly on the Piccadilly line. Obviously, it's tourists. They may not know the etiquette of the underground, but it really annoys me. And personally, if I ever have a suitcase at all, I stand to the side and lean, because you can't take up the whole aisle with your suitcase, and especially when it's a whole family, and you've got the whole family basically being like, "This is the no-go zone. This is all of our suitcases." God forbid it gets busy and people have to stand in front of you. They can't, because your massive suitcase
is in the way. Yeah.
Is in the way. Yeah. So that's what's really grinding my gears this week. Any other final comments?
Don't stand on the left-hand side of an escalator.
Don't stand on the left-hand side.
Stand on the right. Let people walk on the left.
Yeah, and don't put your massive suitcase. Don't sit down. I understand people need to sit down, but please don't sit down with your massive suitcase and take up the whole aisle especially on the Piccadilly line.
You can get those suitcases which you sit on and they drive.
Those are for children.
They're cool. I want one of those. Maybe I'm a little.
You're gonna get one of those little, like the little ones.
Yeah, he's gonna have Thomas the Tank Engine.
I remember those coming out on
front.
Dragon's Den years ago, and then I'm being like to my mum, "I want one of those."
Yeah, they look cool.
Yeah, they do. Apparently, I don't know if they broke or anything. Maybe they didn't. Don't come for me, please. I don't know anything. Well, guys, I think that wraps up our episode for today. Episode 1 of What Grind? No, episode 1 of
again. Back on track.
Back on track.
You heard it here first.
Jamie got me back on track just then. So yeah, guys, if you have watched this far, thank you very much for watching. This is a start to hopefully something very prosperous and exciting.
Stay tuned for some more.
Stay tuned. We're going to try and do this weekly, bi-weekly. We can probably try and do a little weekly. It'll be on Zoom.
You might have a few guest appearances.
We might have a few guest appearances. Specialists of the trade when we don't know what we're talking about. And so we'll get somebody who does know what they're talking about.
Some pretty famous faces I think we've got lined up.
Yeah. Brad Pitt was meant to come on today.
He couldn't make it, unfortunately.
Couldn't make
He did
it.
send his warm regards, but
he couldn't get on the tube actually because somebody's suitcase was in.
yeah.
And then he missed his connecting train because people were standing on the left-hand side.
When he did finally get on the train, it got cancelled because of a bloody tortoise.
Yeah, because it was tortoise. So, sorry about that, guys. We'll try and get him on next week.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. And we have got a little bit of Italiano disco to finish off this episode. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
And we'll see you next week.
Farewell.
Bye-bye.